Disrespect had the worst comeback ever. I heard he was just blaming people basically. Like he didn't try to clear his name at all. He just sat there and said, basically, if y'all are gonna down me, there's people that have done this, and just like threw people under the bus that way, which is kind of crazy to do, but you know, he did. Allegedly.
Serious allegations, and he may have had the worst comeback of all time. But what exactly went wrong for Dr. Disrespect in this whole return stream? Well, the short answer
Smash
is
the subscribe
everything,
button.
but we're going to break it down
Like
a
the
little
video.
bit more than that. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe
Come
button
on.
to join the Trap House with the biggest trapper. And while you're
Twitch.
at it, don't forget to click that very first link down below in my description to join my Discord server and become an official member of the community. Now, with all of that being said, let's get into how Dr. Disrespect had the worst comeback. He ended up getting randomly banned for Twitch, and nobody ever knew the real reason why he got banned up until just recently, a few months ago. But after getting banned on Twitch, he would end up taking his talents over to YouTube and streaming there for a few years. And recently, he got hit with some pretty serious allegations by an ex-Twitch employee. The ex-employee stated that the real reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch was because he allegedly got caught sharing inappropriate messages with a minor on the platform. And this would lead to a whole bunch of uproar around Dr. Disrespect's name, and he ended up putting out a statement that we'll get into later, and then he officially took his break from Twitch. Now, if you want to know more about like the entire lore around Dr. Disrespect's name, then you can go watch one of the other videos that I already did about him on my channel. But after he dropped this statement and took his break from the internet, he would disappear for about a month. No one heard or seen anything from him, and then Dr. Disrespect will return Twitter on July 31st, posting some type of mysterious image of him playing a chess game while the other person on the other side of the board was playing checkers. I don't know what the lore was to this message. I guess he's trying to say that he's moving smarter than anyone else. He's been more precise with his moves, but that would kind of be him teasing his return back to the internet for the first time since all of the allegations came out. And then he would follow that post up 2 weeks later with another Twitter post that stated, "Vacation is just too good right now. We'll be back soon though, champs. We have a lot to talk about," followed by like a yeah, like some sort of like evil laugh. Once again, he thinks that this is just some sort of like, I don't know if he thinks he's like a super villain or like antagonist in an anime. I don't know what he thinks he like. I don't know. So at this point, basically the whole world knew that Dr. Disrespect was going to return at some point, but we still didn't know when, up until about 3 days ago when he would share this trailer to Twitter. And at the end of this trailer, it ended with a screen that said tomorrow, basically saying that he was going to return back to streaming, and it will all basically go downhill from here from Dr. Disrespect, because this return stream probably didn't go as well as Dr. Disrespect hoped. So after weirdly starting off this stream with Wordle, because I'm sure no one was even there for that, that's when he would finally decide to get into what everyone was really there for, and he started directly responding to the Twitch employee that originally leaked all of this stuff to begin with.
Cody Connors, ex-Twitch employee, wasn't even involved, leaks Twitch's reported reason. Years later, Cody, why do this?
So the name of this return stream was called The Truth, and it was a 5-hour long stream. So Dr. Disrespect would start off this stream by saying that there was a lawsuit that he had against Twitch, which everyone already knew about. And part of this settlement was that neither of the parties involved were allowed to talk about what had transpired between Dr. Disrespect and Twitch regarding like the whole permanent suspension thing, which actually does explain a lot, because now it makes sense why the Twitch CEO always gave weird answers like this when asked about Dr. Disrespect or the ban.
Why was Dr. Disrespect banned?
Wow, I've never had that one. Whoa. Well, let me tell you what really happened. Okay. So, there was an alien invasion. The aliens actually possessed Dr. Disrespect.
Oh.
Okay. And it actually took over the globe using Twitch. And so the only way we could save civilization, okay, was to take the action we did. Okay, so it was to save civilization.
So Dr. Disrespect will continue to say that he always respected these terms of confidentiality, and he never once violated the rules, but he also stated that if one of the parties involved did violate these terms and speak on everything that happened publicly, that he would be allowed to respond.
My lawsuit against Twitch was eventually resolved, as you all know. But even then, as part of the settlement, all parties were still prohibited from speaking publicly about the case or the settlement. However, if one side violated that confidentiality, then the other side could respond. And again, champs, again, I respected all the confidential obligations.
So after stating the fact that Cody Connors actually didn't know anything that really transpired between his whole dispute with Twitch, he also went on to say something that kind of shocked me a little bit, because according to Dr. Disrespect, his whole entire response statement that he posted to Twitter, where he technically like admitted to sharing inappropriate messages with a minor, apparently according to Dr. Disrespect, he purposefully put the word minor into this, because I don't know if you guys remember or not, it was like a big thing going on because he had edited the word minor in and out of this initial response, and that caused a bit of an uproar. But according to Dr. Disrespect, he would use the words inappropriate and minor purposefully in hopes of all of the social media pages, reporters, blogs, all of that. Dr. Disrespect basically wanted all of these people to take what he said and run with it, because apparently none of it's even true.
You also said the word minor, Cody. I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement, edited, etc., just to make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it. And boy, oh boy, did they ever, champs.
So after hashing it out with Cody Connors and basically just saying that he was one big liar, Dr. Disrespect would go on to give more details about this whole situation and I guess try to clear his name up a little bit more. He went on to say that the person that he was sharing these messages with never planned or intended to meet up. They never met up or anything like that. And he also went on to say that Twitch's trust and safety legal team also determined that these messages weren't sexting at all. And according to Dr. Disrespect, the messages that he and this alleged minor shared, who was also apparently over the age of consent, all of the messages that were exchanged between the two were actually just mutual bantering with a few inappropriate jokes that were just taken out of context. And after stating all of this and clearing up his name a little bit, Dr. Disrespect will go on to say that he was basically set up by his ex-Twitch manager.
So after we signed with Twitch in 2019, we asked for a new partner manager. And just a few months later, that ex-Twitch partner manager is directly involved with getting me banned. Coincidence?
So this ex-Twitch partner manager who allegedly set Dr. Disrespect
He's standing on
was
business,
sending
I'm not
these
gonna lie.
messages over to Twitch's
I
law
not
enforcement
peep.
response team, and basically, according to Dr. Disrespect, they handpicked just a few of these messages that were completely out of context, and that's what ultimately led up to the decision to permanently ban Dr. Disrespect off the platform. Although Dr.
Fair
Disrespect
enough.
has like this big conspiracy theory that this was all planned and put together, and they just wanted a reason to terminate his contract in hopes of signing some other big streamers at the time.
It's so obvious that certain Twitch executives, employees involved had personal biases against the doc and used all of this as an opportunity to terminate my contract. Go back and look at the timing of all this too. Huh.
His
The
delivery
doc's
is
termination
terrible. By
lines
the way.
up with two preferable,
That's the only
profitable,
thing
and
that's pissing me
expensive
off.
streamers leaving Mixer.
Dr. Disrespect would close his stream out with a list of streamers who he personally felt like did way worse things than him, and they didn't end up getting banned at all. In fact, some of them even got multi-million-dollar contracts.
Example number one, a streamer that frequently used the N-word while publicly streaming, which constitutes a violation of Twitch's policies if accompanied by hateful intent.
Name
Twitch
drop.
scheduled a meeting with the streamer to ascertain his intent to determine whether his conduct was a violation of Twitch's policies, ultimately determining it was not a breach of Twitch's policies. Why wasn't I called into a meeting? Why wasn't my intent taken into consideration, champs?
Now, I don't speak for every black person in the world, or I'm not like the king of black people like Peter Griffin was on that one episode, but I don't think like saying the N-word is worse than being a pedo. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if everyone feels the same way. That's just personally how I feel.
I
It's
agree.
still some fishy
I'm with
things
Bando
going
on this
with
one.
This whole thing. Like, for one, who would make a public statement to Twitter basically admitting to all of these disgusting things that people are accusing you of, just for journalists and bloggers to run off with this narrative that makes you look even worse? And another very crazy thing about this whole situation is that no one will release the messages. In fact, when asked to release the messages, this is what Dr. Disrespect had to say.
People want,
Show the message. Release the messages. Show the messages.
what are we in second grade?
So yeah, definitely a whole lot of like suspicious activity going on with this whole thing, and we really won't know much about what's
Is he
going
not
on.
allowed
until
to share the
more parties
messages?
come
Is
out and
that
start
what we're
speaking. But apparently,
expecting?
some of Dr. Disrespect's fans
must be
and
it.
other people on the internet do actually believe that Dr. Disrespect is telling the truth. So for now, all we can do is sit back and wait to see what transpires between this whole situation with Twitch and Dr. Disrespect. He did state that he's going to be back streaming full time now, and that he's even going to reapply for YouTube partnership on September 25th. In my personal opinion, I think he is going to get this partnership back with YouTube, and I also think like within the next 6 months to a year, everyone is just going to act like this never happened, simply because after giving this one statement that he gave, most of his fans are already back. Like, there's people defending him and going to war about him in Twitter comments. It's actually insane.
That's how it
So I think
goes.
like within the next year, people are just going to let this whole thing blow.
The thing is, oh yeah, that's really it. But the whole thing for Dr. Disrespect specifically, now that I have a little bit more context, is some people think he was playing 40 chess. I don't know. I'm not a very big person on his content. I don't watch too many videos of his to begin with, like before the whole thing happened. But it just seems like he was in the right place at the right time and things loaded up in his favor. Now, you could take that with a grain of salt and say, you know, oh, well, he did do the stuff. He's just trying to get away with it now. That could very well be the case. I'm not going to lie. But I'm also inclined to believe that there is potential for things to have not been done properly. People didn't investigate properly. People felt salty about something, and so they cherry picked. They did certain things that they shouldn't have, and they tried to paint him in a certain light where he was not actually in that light. That is very possible. It happens to people a lot of times. False accusations, you know, innocent until proven guilty in my book. Those are some pretty damning accusations, of course, but accusations nevertheless, and seemingly unfounded beyond a certain extent. Now, why he would go about that way or articulate himself in that way, I think that's just part of his appeal. But I just shoulder shrug. We'll find out eventually, or it'll like Bando said, it'll just get swept under the rug, real smooth like, and nobody will talk about it ever again.